And as much hope as you might have that, well, maybe this, you know what, this is all going to work out. It's going to be fine because they'll be less dry, they'll put in the effort, and they'll start to treat me better. That's a lot to ask of a person. You're essentially asking a person to entirely change their character. You're asking them to change their behavior. You're asking them to change their values. You're asking them to change their time management. You're basically asking them to change entirely themselves. And relationships are not Build-A-Bear. You can't just look at a person and say, okay, this person wants me, thank goodness. Now, let me arrange them into the person who I want them to be. And so maybe they're not putting in the effort there because it's not the actual thing that they want. It's funny, we can look at life and you know what's important to you by where you put your effort. It's like I don't need to ask you what kind of a person you are. None of us do. We just kind of have to watch a person, and then over time we'll figure out what kind of a person that they are. But if you look at where a person puts their effort, then you know what's important to them. Now, understanding that in a general sense, meaning that, for example, if a person is putting a whole bunch of work into school, let's say, and then you ask them, well, what's important to you? Is school itself important to them? Kind of, but the thing that's really important to them is what they think they're going to get out of school. Maybe it's a career, maybe it's a stable life, maybe it's something further on down the road. If a person's putting a whole bunch of time into going to the gym and working out, what's important to them? Well, obviously their body, their physique. And then you might say, well, also their health. But I wonder how many of us actually sit there and say, I just want to have great health, and that's why I go to the gym. Probably not many. We probably just like the changes in ourselves. We like the way that we look, so we go. The health thing might be a benefit, might be kind of like a side benefit. My point is that you know what people value by where they put their effort and their time, because there's nothing that you have that's more valuable than your time. You can get more money. If you feel like you don't have enough money in your life, then that's just a mathematical problem. If you have a job that pays you $20 an hour and you need $100, then you go work 5 hours. It's just a mathematical thing. Well, if I'm working a job and the job just doesn't pay me enough to make ends meet, what do? Well, it's a mathematical thing. You multiply the number of hours. You go get another job. You get a second job. You get a side job. But that's a lot of hours. Yeah, but that's a lot of math too. It's a mathematical problem. But where people put their time, you start to realize you've only got 24 hours. You can't multiply that out, and you've only got so many years. You don't know how many, but you only have so much time. You can't multiply that out. It's like if you go on vacation and you have a suitcase, you can't get a bigger suitcase, but you can kind of arrange things hopefully so that you can make it more efficient in the suitcase. You can fit more into the suitcase, just as you can fit more into your life. But you can't expand the parameters of your life by years. It's just you have as many years as you have. You have as much time as you have. And most of us realize that intuitively. And so we set aside time for the things that are really important for us. Any of you guys, is eating very important to you? Any of you guys, eating is just not that important to you? And so you just don't put much time into it. Eating is almost like you don't plan for it. You just think like, oh, I'm gonna eat at some point today. On Friday, I had to drive up to Los Angeles, to Corona. And I was running around doing things, and I didn't eat before I came to school. I didn't eat while I was here because I was working, and I thought, I'll eat on the way up there. I'll just go through a drive-through and get something on the way up there. Where? I didn't know. I just thought at some point I'm going to see something and go, ooh, I stop now and get food. And I didn't. I didn't end up eating until close to 11 o'clock on Friday night. So you can tell from something like that, how important was it to me? Not much. Now I can say, oh no, but nutrition is important. You gotta eat, you gotta have, be able to fuel your brain. I can say all of those words, but that's not where I put my effort. And now if you were to ask me, okay, well, if we were to give you, I don't know, $10,000 a bite for everything that you ate, well, I'd probably make more time for it. I'd probably put more effort into it. If you're talking to somebody and if you're dating somebody and they don't put the effort in, that well, first off, there's like two different things two different ways of measuring that effort. First off, is it the effort that you want? Because the person might be putting all of the effort that they possibly can in their own mind, but maybe it's just not enough for you. you need someone who can put in more effort, whatever that means. And if that's the case, then sometimes it sucks to hear it, but it's true that sometimes the tune just doesn't fit the chord. Sometimes things just don't fit. Think about this. Take your two favorite songs and think about what they are, and then take the melody and the lyrics over one of them and put it over the music of the other one. And you're gonna find that it's gonna be mismatched probably. Like maybe your favorite song is really fast, but then your second favorite song is really slow. So you try putting the really slow singing and lyrics over the really fast beat. It's just not gonna fit quite right. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the tune. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the chords. It just means that the tune just doesn't fit the chords sometimes. Individually, so what do you have to do? Well, you have to pair up the right tune and the right chords, and the right tune and the right chords, and you get two great songs. And sometimes the person that you're with is just not a great song. It can be, but everything kind of has to come together. And so if a person is dry and standoffish, that's a pretty good indicator. If they're not putting in the effort, maybe it's not enough effort for what you need, and maybe what you need is more than what they can give. And you're not going to get more out of it just by kind of harassing. But it's worth pointing out because sometimes people just don't know. Oftentimes people just don't know that they're dry, and they don't know that they're not putting in the effort that's necessary. They think they're doing, especially if they don't have much experience. They kind of have to learn. And then the same is going to be true for treating worth. No, that's something that you kind of just pick up as you're growing up. Because even if you don't like a person, even if you're angry with a person, you still don't treat them badly. You don't treat them badly. Like I have a friend who, she gets angry and she just becomes standoffish and she disappears. Oh, I'm not friends anymore, but that's how she would be. And she would start to degrade the person, talk trash to them, put them down. She knew what was really important to him, so she would attack him on those specific things, his insecurities. And then afterwards, when they'd make up, she'd be like, "Oh, I didn't mean all that stuff," but that still lingers, man. It's always in the back of your mind. But did she mean it? And then you've also trained her that it's okay to talk to you like that, because you're going to get the behavior that you allow. And as much hope as you might have that, well, maybe this is all going to work out. It's going to be fine because they'll be less dry, they'll put in the effort, and they'll start to treat me better. That's a lot to ask of a person. You're essentially asking a person to entirely change their character. You're asking them to change their behavior. You're asking them to change their values. You're asking them to change their time management. You're basically asking them to change entirely themselves. And relationships are not Build-A-Bear. You can't just look at a person and say, okay, this person wants me, thank goodness. Now, let me arrange them into the person who I want them to be. Now, sometimes you just need a little help, like you just don't know. Like, I don't know, man. Why not? We're here. A lot of guys just don't know how to wear clothing, man. Just don't know how to dress. What do? I don't know. You know what? Screw it. Black. You go to like a formal event, and if you let guys pick their own stuff, mostly what do you wear? Black shirt, black tie. No, you look like you're going to you look like the Undertaker, man. You're gonna go to a funeral. No, but that's just how I feel comfortable. Of course, because you haven't done anything else. So sometimes you need someone to come along and go, I don't like the way you dress. Change it. Happens. Necessary. Oh, but then I'm changing the person. No, you're helping them out because you're filling in the gap of something that they don't know. A person might not realize that they're not putting in the effort. In other words, they might feel like, oh, but I want to smother you. I feel like I'm smothering you if I reach out to you more. No. I want you to, though. You work those things out. But that treating somebody without worth, that's hard, man. That's a value. That's something that you typically either treat people like they have value or you don't. And you learn that when you're growing up. Do you believe that people have value and they should be treated well, regardless or not? Can you be nice to a person even when you're angry with them? I saw this really funny video actually not too long ago. It was called something like when you're mad at each other but you still care. And she's like this woman, she's all pissed off and she's like making a sandwich and he walks by and she like hands him half the sandwich, he takes it and whatever. And later she's trying to reach something, he walks over, he kind of like bumps her out of the way, gets the thing she's trying to reach for and gives it to her. and they're angry with each other, but they're still treating each other as they would if they weren't angry. So can you do that? Because if you can do that, that's an expression of your character. It is an expression of the other person. It's not that maybe the other person did something to make you mad or whatever, but you feel like, so you feel like I gotta be mean to them because I'm mad at them. Okay, but can you be nice to them anyway? That's an expression of your character. Are you a nice person or not? Are you a reciprocal person? In other words, people will say, I'm nice to people who are nice to me. Well, then you're not really a nice person. You're a reciprocal person. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just be clear about what you are. It's like if I'd ask you, are you a liar? No, I always tell the truth. I ask you, you always tell the truth? Just with a question mark at the end. Yeah, I always, okay. Well, hear me out. Sometimes there's, okay, well then it's context dependent. And that's okay. It's just to understand what you are. But if you find yourself feeling like you're on your heels and you have to explain why you're mean sometimes, then that might indicate that you realize that you shouldn't be, which is good, because now you know something that you can change. But if you're hoping for the person to change, everything about themselves, their values, their time management, their attitudes, well then, again, you're trying to change a whole person. And you might hope that they change. But sometimes the best place to hope sometimes the best place to hope from is a few miles away or across the street, but not with the person, if that makes sense. No. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Dope. Happy Wednesday. Finish.